This video is focused on the Entities widget. Entities are a new concept in the HTML5 interface. It allows you to group things that are all related to any one entity and then search on them as though they are one entity. So let me show you how that works. It's easier to understand by actually showing it. Let's open up our Entities widget. And I'm going to focus first on the right half. This is where we create an entity. We would add our entity name. Then we may associate names, phone numbers, emails, chats. You can read it as well as I can. There's all these different things, as well as loose search terms. You could just do, type in Tim, and that would be part of the entity. This is really just an organizational structure, nothing more than that. And you add stuff by typing here. But this ultimately doesn't have a meaningfully different impact on the entity than doing this. It does have a slight difference, though, so you should put your phone numbers here and your emails here. That will help the other widgets use the information. But the point is, ultimately, we're constructing a very large search. And so it doesn't really matter if you type the search correctly here versus entering the individual information everywhere. That said, I strongly encourage you to enter your phone numbers here and your names here and your emails here and all that kind of good stuff. Once you create an entity you're happy with, you can save it by clicking save, or you can save end tag by clicking tag. That's basically two operations there. All your saved entities, they get saved in the case you were logged into when you created them. But they're accessible from anywhere. So I can come here and pull in all my entities, of which I only have some from case 2. And I can utilize any one of these entities on any case. So if I go and log into predictive coding, which is case 3 for me, and now I utilize the Bob entity and I tag, I will be tagging the Bob entity information against case 3. Even though Bob, the Bob entity, if you will, comes from case 2. So it really is ultimately irrelevant into which case you create your entities. You may choose to create a parent case and just stuff all your entities in there and then just use them in all your cases. That would be a very reasonable workflow. Let's go ahead and create a case, an entity here, and let me show you what it does first. So I'm going to search on Austin. Austin is my son, and this is my personal data, so I'm sure his name will show up somewhere. I believe there are something like 101 records that have Austin in them, but we'll see. As suspected, 101 items. So, okay, so the only point I was I'm making here is that the Austin search has 101 items. So now let's go into filter, see the tags that we have. These are the tags we currently have. All right. Now, let's go back to entities. And let's create a new Austin entity. And in this entity, we're just going to put the word Austin. And now we're going to tag. What it did was it saved the Austin entity. Now it's obviously right here in our database. And we can, now if we access all of the Austins, you can see it's right there. And if we jump from one to the next, you can see it changes. So now we have to wait a little bit. It's not necessarily instantaneous. But let's see if we refresh our tags. Entity Austin 101. That's what it does. That may seem like nothing overly special, but what it allows you to do is to create a whole bunch of relatively complex searches that are composed of large numbers of different criteria, phone numbers, search terms, whatever. Save them and allow all people, all users in the system to pull from them and automatically search and tag against them. So you could have gone through and, let's say had 100 standard entities that you want to tag against, and you can have people just come in, run pull up the entities, hit tag, pull up the next entity, hit tag, and it will automatically conduct all those searches and tag. Now, there is one other cool thing that it does. So let's first get rid of this search. Make sure we clear everything here. Reset back to our standard full. Get email. And I'm going to enter, I need some email addresses. This is why I'm doing this. Let's get some. Okay, we're going to do C_Morris. So let's do this. Where is my entity? Right there. We're going to create a new entity. And we're doing emails here. And we're going to get those emails again. And we're going to go K_Morris at yahoo.com. And let's add another one. And let's call this SCS Stevens at summation.com. And let's do another one. The more I add here, the more impactful it will look. K Morris at summation.com. This is a great example, by the way, because clearly K Morris has multiple emails, and it would make sense to consolidate them into one entity. So we're going to go ahead and let's just add one more. Let's do C. Driscoll at accessdata.com. All right, so we save that. It creates our entity. And we've got these 4 email addresses that we've decided are one person. They're one person, they're one entity. Somehow they're all related. So we've aggregated them into a single entity called new entity. Now, let's come to our social analyzer. Let's rebuild that. All right, lots of gobbledygook, lots of emails here, and it's hard to make sense of who is who. So what we do is we build our entities. So let's say maybe 10 of these email addresses. In our case, 4 of these email addresses we want to consider one. And we simply click here and apply them. All those email addresses were aggregated and put into one dot right here called new entity. We can, of course, undo it, and it will blow them back out. But if we want to put them back together, anyway, we just toggle this. And all the widgets work that way. Well, almost all the widgets, all the ones where it's relevant to have entities work this way. So the timeline works that way. This one works this way, where it will aggregate everything into a single dot and give it a separate and distinct shape or a distinct color and draw your eye to it. So that's how entities work. They're auto tagging and they're clustering of a variety of information. Hopefully that is helpful. I think you guys will find it really powerful. I would love feedback on entities. I'd love to hear how and where you guys want to take it to make it more useful, because I think it is the beginning of something really interesting in this product. So anyway, thank you very much.